Aflag and Praise TV proudly present Rights in Focus with Aflag.
Hello viewers, children are the future generation, but let's ask ourselves, are we equipping them with the rights and responsibilities that is required to ensure that they thrive successfully in the future? Considering technological advancements, considering the fact that parents are hardly present these days and children are left to nannies and family members to take care of, are we able to give them the right guidance and directions that they need to become who we want them to be in future? Are we secured for the future of our generation? Now, we are going to look at some of the rights and responsibilities of children. Is it that they just have rights, or with the rights come responsibilities that they have to also work with? Welcome to Rights in Focus with Aflag, the show where we look at the rights of children, women, the youth, and human rights in general. To help me unpack this discussion today are our very own Mr. Godfred Ebo Ahin, who is a principal investigator with Raj. Welcome, Mr. Ahin.
Thank you very much.
And together with Mr. Ahin, we have my very own good friend, a serious international gender activist and also children's rights activist. If you are in our industry, if you are in the law and development industry, you obviously know Gloria. She's Madam Gloria Kankam, now the founder and executive director of Center for Women in Development and Public Policy. Welcome, Madam Gloria.
Thank you.
We are glad to have you both join us today. So before we zoom in, I would like to say a special thank you to our sponsors, Aflag. Aflag is an organization that addresses the plight of women and children and youth in the areas of economic empowerment, education, health, and access to justice. This show is brought to you by Aflag and also with support from Oriental Resort Hotel. They have given us this place. It's a beautiful garden for outdoor events. They have made it possible for us to bring you this show. And a special thank you to our media partner, Praise TV, for having this show. Now, to the issue. Let's dive straight in. Now tell me, Gloria, what are the rights of children? When we say children's rights, what are they?
Okay, so before I even mention or state what rights are for children, who is a child?
Good.
A child is any person from 0 till below 18.
Okay.
So if the child is going to be 18 tomorrow, till midnight of today, the person is still the child.
Qualifies for a child. Okay.
Exactly. And then how do you qualify them if they could be biological, adopted, or fosterage, through fosterage, when they are taken by foster parents or foster guardian, and also through adoption? They can also be refugee children. They can also be just children roaming about in the city. We cannot find their parents. Okay. They are all children. Yes. And when we say rights of a child, I would say that the right of children comes in terms of protection, in terms of prevention, in terms of their security. And these forms come under what we call the key principles of child protection. Okay. So is it in the interest of the child? If you want the child to go to school, is it in the interest of the child? And what are the basic rights? It's to life, to education, to shelter, to healthcare. These are all we call the rights of the child.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bo, tell us, what are some of the most critical children's rights that we need to highlight in Ghana and even globally?
Thank you very much, Madam. Basically, we talk about children's rights because children are part of human beings. Okay. And when we talk of rights, we usually add humans to it. Yeah. Because they're also animal rights.
Okay, excellent.
So children's rights is an aspect of human rights. Yeah. And so we are saying that those rights which are specifically geared toward protecting the interests of children. So as human beings, children also have a right to life. They have a right to shelter. They have a right to education, to health, to grow up with their parents. The Children's Act even makes provision for a right to a name, to belong to a family. You know, we Ghanaians from African setting, we believe in what we call the ancestral-ship.
Yeah.
So every child is supposed to belong to a certain ancestral lineage. So when they give birth to you and they cannot even associate you with a certain clan or family, in the common law era, there was what we call, there is illegitimate child.
Yeah.
But within the African context, there's nothing like illegitimate child. Every child belongs to a family.
Yeah, right.
So those rights that will make a child feel safe, comfortable within a spectrum and live their life to fulfill the destiny with which they came onto the society for. That is what we call the children's rights.
Okay, so now because we are looking at critical rights of children, right to identity, which is very critical in the Ghanaian and African context. So in situations where we have absent fathers, if the child belongs to a matrilineal system, will you say the child has an identity with the matrilineal side, or it must always be the patrilineal side before you say a child has rights to identity?
So we are fortunate to have the patrilineal and matrilineal descent and all that. But in other jurisdictions, there's nothing like that.
Yeah.
So for us as Ghanaians, yes, even though your father may not literally give you a name at your birth, you still belong to your family. And there are instances where the family of the mother has gone ahead to give a name to the child. Because like you are saying, from the matrilineal descent, it means it doesn't matter whatever you do, you still belong to your maternal family. Yeah. So they would accept you, take you in, and then groom you up, give you a name so that you have that identity. Perfect. When you step out, we know you are unique from the others.
Excellent. Now, Gloria, help us. What are some of the things that you think Ghana is doing right in implementing the rights that protect children?
Okay, first of all, I think we have the laws. So 1992 Constitution. 1992 Constitution is there. We have the Children's Act 1999. And then we also have the Domestic Violence Act. These are children-focused laws as well. Then we have the Family and Child Welfare Policy, which Ghana has, and which is a very good thing. Not every country has that one. Okay. So without having those documents already, we are on the right path in taking care or protecting the rights of children. And what is left with us that we need to do, we have the laws right, good, but we need the serious and critical, intentional implementation of these laws so that all children are taken care of. For example, if we take the 1992 Constitution, it says that it gives opportunity for every child to go to school. Yeah. The FQ, free, compulsory, universal basic education. Even though it is free, it's not really free for all children. Okay. Depending on where they are coming from, depending on family background, in terms of poverty or not poor, in terms of rural, urban, all of these things come to play. So even though it's free, it's not really free for every child. Okay. So we need to pay extra attention. I'm glad that we're now going to look at the reformation of the education system, looking at a review. And fortunately, there's a committee in place. There's a need for us to look at, if it's F cube, how F cube is it? Is it accessible to all children everywhere in this country? Yeah. When you are on the streets of Accra, you see the law, the children's rights say that even if they are refugees, we see children on the streets of Ghana who are not Ghanaians. And what are we doing about these children? They have right to education. We need to pay attention to these things. So
that's a long way to go because because even for citizens, okay, there are lots of barriers to education, which is so important. One of their basic and most important rights. If you go to the rural areas, you realize that the barriers that they face as far as education is concerned, are we even done with that?
I'm even glad you said refugees. Thank you. I'm even glad you said barriers. We are currently we have school-related gender-based violence projects, and we do them in schools. We are currently in a community that is not far, about 1 hour drive from Koforidua, which is the capital town of the Eastern region. And you'll be amazed. No transportation, accessibility. The only accessible means of transport is motorbike. And these guys are impregnating these girls, which is a great barrier. Yeah. In fact, one of the head teachers told me something that broke my heart. For him to say that I gave the girl 3 months maternity leave. So per the law, the policy for teenage pregnancy returning to school, there is a policy. Yeah. But the girl cannot come to school because she doesn't have anyone to take care of the child. In terms of distance, because the distance, a walking distance from her home to the school is almost 2 hours.
As for that, that is also another.
So it's a big barrier.
It's a big barrier. The barriers to education. Because recently we saw a video went viral where 2 toddlers, I'll call them toddlers, or maybe a toddler and another adolescent, yes, helping one cross a bridge with a wood that was on that river. And the president, it was so good to know that the president acted swiftly in that. So the barriers are there. But now we are talking about the rights of children. Let me ask you, are children just supposed to enjoy rights? Are there responsibilities that come with these rights?
Exactly.
What are some of the responsibilities that come with the rights?
There is nothing like free lunch.
Exactly.
There's nothing like free lunch. So, as for the responsibilities, I think that basically they are hindered on the fact that we are grooming our children today for them to be responsible adults or leaders tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, in as much as we want them to be free and enjoy this right, they also have to be inculcated with certain values, principles, morals, norms that would cushion them and as it were shape their character, so that they will also be able to live up to the expectations society puts on them. So they have a responsibility to, first of all, pay attention to their parents, because in as much as we send children to school and the reformation process is basically done in the school, it is the home setting that gives a child a character.
The primary.
At the end of the day, when the child goes out and misbehaves, usually they ask him, which home are you from? You see, so that responsibility of paying attention to your parents, caring for your parents, paying attention to their correction and their direction, that even if they pay your school fees, you have to go to school.
You have to commit to the education, because they don't waste so much money and you don't commit to education. So they must be responsible for that.
They have given you a tablet.
Yeah.
You are fortunate to get a tablet.
And all you do is play games.
You understand? Then you watch these pornographic materials. You're on TikTok here and there.
Yeah.
And sometimes they even get so much addicted to the tablet that when you even want to call them to come and eat,
no, it becomes
they
an
don't want
issue.
to come.
Exactly.
The women are shying away from the kitchen, so they don't know how to take care of the basic requirement of keeping a home.
Thank you. So in short, there are responsibilities for children.
Right go with responsibilities.
So as we are fighting for their right to education, their responsibility is to commit to their education. As we are fighting for right for you to have an identity, belong to a family, your responsibility is to ensure that you live a life that does not bring disgrace or disdain to your family. So yes,
the responsibility to protect the family name.
Yes. So as much as you have rights, you equally have what? Responsibilities. Now, Gloria, help us to understand how can the schools and parents instill strong sense of responsibility in children? In 1 minute, so we go on a
commercial. So you have a right, if you have right to education, you have the right to learn.
Yeah.
And if you have right to food, you also have right not to waste food.
Good.
The responsibility not to waste food. So these are some of the things. If you have the right to be respected, you have the responsibility to respect and love others. It goes hand in hand. You cannot have one and leave the other.
So how can parents and teachers collaborate?
Exactly. Not only parents and teachers, but the society in general. Government. I'm glad Ebo is here. He's from the Commission on Human Rights. It's good.
Yeah.
So it's all of these key state agencies. Yeah. Social Rights, Department of Social Welfare, Ghana Health Service, Ghana Education Service, the police, DOFSU, the child-friendly court, all of these, the juvenile court, the family tribunal, all of these come to place. Religion is in here, tradition is in here. So if you are a Muslim, you have to pay attention to what you are taught at the Makaranta. If you're a Christian, you go to Sunday school and all of that. All these things come to play, and we need to work together. If one side works and the other does not work, the child is left incomplete. Yeah. Because the responsibility is for us to do the religious, the traditional, the educational, the social life, the economic of that child. Yeah. And once one is missing, the child is incomplete. So we need to work collaboratively. And we need to do that very intentional.
Great, great. Now we are going to go on a short commercial break, but before, think through this as we go. Having digital age and exposure to harmful content and everything online, we know that this is really affecting our future leaders. Think through it as we take a quick commercial break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This show is brought to you by Aflag, Praise TV, and Oriental Resort Hotel.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. As you already know, this show is sponsored by Aflag, Advocates for Fair Legal Access and Consult Ghana, and also Oriental Resort Hotel located at North Legon. So before we left, we spoke about the modern technology and everything that is online bullying, online content, how it is affecting our children. So now, Ebo, help us. What are some of the biggest threats to children's well-being today as far as modern technological advancement and everything is concerned?
Abuse.
Okay, explain.
Abuse.
Explain.
Abuse. You know, Bible says, train up a child the way he should go, so that when he grows up, he will not depart from it. So in our quest to show our love for our children, we give them those things that we didn't have the benefit of using.
Yeah.
And we also tend to treat our children in the opposite way from how we were brought up.
Yeah.
If a parent grew up from a strict home, he tends to be liberal towards his children.
Yeah.
If a parent was liberal, he tends to be strict.
Yeah.
So where you have given a child access to technology and you are not supervising the child has the leeway to roam everywhere. And it will amaze you to know that the children of today know so much about technology than we ourselves will know. So when a child has access to your phone, the kind of things the child will do. So here is a case where even with your phone, he can maneuver his way or a way.
What surprises me is even the toddlers. They can't feed themselves, but they pick your phone, and before you realize they're on YouTube. How are they able to get there and go to Cocomelon?
You get it. So the ability to supervise and restrict them and not leave them to their own, because there are children who are in their room. I mean, a child of about 10, 15 years has his own room to himself. Whatever he does within that four corners of the room, nobody knows. You get it? So in as much as we want to expose our children to the trend now, we should also be able to guide them towards living a responsible life, such that they will not abuse the system or the process and get exposed to certain things. Children have been lured into terrorism, into bisexual, gay, all those manner of things through this equipment, online, even the cartoons they watch and all those things. So we should not just leave them. We should pay attention.
I get it.
Like Gloria would say, intentional. You follow them each step of the way.
It's intentional, but as modern parents, and this is where modern parenting comes in. For modern parents, where we don't have the whole community helping us raise the children. Father goes to work, mother goes to work, you leave them with nannies or older siblings. Okay, they are back from school. This same technology is what they are using for their research work. It's what they are using to do so many things academically. Now, you are guiding them and protecting them. What some of us do is to give screen time and all of that, and also parental guide, so that whatever you are downloading, we know before you download it. We also make you know that you can't go on social media until you are 16 and all of that. So these measures are in place. But then we have to acknowledge the fact, so Gloria, I come to you with that. So we have to acknowledge the fact that modern parents are busy. You want to work and get money to be able to give your children the best. If you don't work, you don't get it. And if you are working, you are busy. How should we, how do we find the balance to be able to monitor them? Because you come back, you are tired, you are trying to fix food. Husband comes back tired, trying to also fix food, assist with their homework. What extra time? So the intentionality comes in, but help us understand how we can be intentional, because they need the technological devices we give them, but they also need guidance so they don't get lured into all the things that Ebo mentioned.
Even if you have only 5 minutes a day to spend with a child, make it count.
Okay.
It should be quality time.
Okay.
Everything a parent tells a child, the child takes it. And this is the time, because you don't have all the time with the child the whole day, that is when the little time you have, you're not going to shout, but you're going to walk the path with the child.
No, but sometimes the things they do, you have to shout.
The shouting
I believe in gentle parenting, but the shouting
it's not gentle. It's not gentle.
The shouting will come.
The shouting will come.
But when it is frequent,
exactly,
and it becomes the order of the day,
the child will hide. At every modern parenting now, at every point, you are at the age of the child.
Yeah.
At the next minute, the child is of your age.
Yeah.
So you are talking to the child like he's your age mate, but you know what you want. You know what you are talking about. You know where you are going. So whatever time you get to be with the child, it must be quality time.
No, but I think for me, I agree with you, but I will digress a bit, because in as much as at one point the person is your friend or your
age mate,
and you must relate like that, children, we also have to take notice of the fact that children have a manipulative way of abusing freedom.
That's where I'm coming to.
So the balance, you
as a parent must be also very observant. You are watching the child. You also know how to also be manipulative. You have to also know how to deal with the child, language-wise. Some parents, and even when the child is that type that you think that just talking will not do, sometimes just your eye speaks a lot to the child. But in this modern parenting too, if you go like the way we were brought up, where we were shouted at, where we were screamed at, it won't work. You are guiding the child. And it must be intentional. You don't leave your work and say because of your work. Let me tell you, there are a lot of parents today too who are also always on the phone instead of being with the child.
Spending time with the child.
So that little time the parent gets, she's on the phone or he's on the phone instead of being with the child. So you don't have time. You are making money to take care of the child. If you finish getting all the money and you come home to nothing, what's the use of making the money?
You come home
so
to child
whatever time you get, make sure you use the time judiciously. Get leave, and when you're on leave, you are not going anywhere, but you are with the child. Okay. If there is a driver who was taking the child, or taxi driver, now pick the child yourself.
When you're on leave.
Take a walk with the children. So it's not about the children being manipulated, but it's about you as a parent,
spending time with them in their kitchen,
and being critical.
Yeah.
I mean, watch, observe, and then know where to start from. Okay. Because if you don't watch and observe and know where to start from, you push the children away from you. And then social media will take them away from us.
Great.
We don't want that.
Great. Now, Ebo, you are with Stretch. Tell us, what are some of the policies or initiatives that we need to strengthen to protect children, okay, from this online bullying and exposure that they are getting?
Technology is a double-edged sword.
Double-edged sword.
And in as much as we can't do without it, we can still do without it.
Yeah.
So realize that the past administration introduced a certain policy of using technology in place of hard copy textbooks, like giving tablets containing syllabus and lecture notes, rather than printing hard copy textbook for students. That policy had a good intention, but the implementation of it couldn't make us benefit effectively from it. So as a nation, Gloria mentioned the child and family welfare policy. We have so many policies, we have so many laws. If you look at the laws, legislation on children's rights alone, and we are still advancing for more. I think there's even a place in it for affirmative action law right now. Yeah. You understand? So the policies and they are there. But when it comes to the implementation, yes, the Children's Act places the welfare of the child in the ambit of the social welfare department.
Good.
But social welfare alone has not been able to. Yeah. Because there's, even apart from social welfare, there's still the Department of Children.
Yeah.
They too, they have up to a certain point. So we should be able to sync all the various legislations, policy, institutions who are involved in the protection of children. Yeah. There is a Ministry of gender,
children,
social protection, and children and all that. How far has that ministry gone? You understand? So I think that we as a nation should have a second look at. Not long ago, I was in a certain forum organized by SOS. Okay. And we were looking at how to harmonize all the laws of children and putting it together. And one of the things that came out was review of the Children's Act. We should review the Children's Act. Yeah. But up to now, nothing has happened about it. Okay. So we should be able to respond to this change. This initially we were battling with globalization. Now it is no more globalization we are battling with. No, globalization is you go and mention globalization somewhere, people will laugh at you. Yeah. But now it seems we are in the era of AI. Yeah. How many parents are familiar with AI?
Yeah. I understand. And what point well taken. Now, let's look at, having said all of this, Gloria, I want you to give your last verse. This should be your last submission and last verse, and then you can give your shout out to those you want to give shout outs to. So tell us, how can we, I'm very much interested in the collaboration. Okay, the collaboration is important because one aspect is teaching children this, and another is, so for instance, parents are teaching their children for instance, let me just use something like teaching their children gender equality, teaching their children that there's nothing like gender roles, or teaching their children that, okay, even though there may be gender roles, you have to ensure that there is equity, okay? For me, I don't really believe in equality. I believe in equity because I believe that biologically, women have certain features in them that make them do certain things easily, and also men also have certain biological, innate, God-given features that make them do so. So when we are preaching equity, when we are preaching equity, you are teaching this to your children at home, and then they go to school, and for the school thinks that, okay, still there should be gender roles, it should be women serving dishes. So you see, you are doing one, and another institution is doing. What can we do about that?
I think those things are changing now.
They are changing.
Yeah, they are changing. Okay. Of course, yeah, they are changing. Now schools now have school prefect. Before it used to be the deputy would be the girls prefect. Now it's not like that. Some schools now allow everybody to contest. Whoever wins, wins.
Okay.
But beyond that, let me come back to what Ebu was saying. You see, the Children's Act allows us to have child panel at the district level.
Okay.
So that is one of the good things that we need to work on, to amplify their voice, to resource them, because it's in every district. And again, if social welfare is the main point of contact at the district level, we need to put the right human resource there. You cannot put somebody with a great background to go and head social welfare. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
It has to be someone with a social work background, psychology background, sociology background. These are some of the things that we need to put at. And then if we want to also look at technology.
Your last word, Gloria. You have 30 seconds.
My last word, I'm saying that Ghana now have a cyber security law. Yeah. All the cyberbullying that our children are experiencing, we can actually report to cyber security. Recently, there was a boy and a girl who the boy asked the girl to put herself in a naked when he took a shot and wanted to send it out, and asked the girl to give him 100 cedis. And so that
can you imagine children are doing this?
But the parents were able to pick it up to cyber security, and at least the law is working. So there are laws that are there. Civil society, traditional leaders, everybody has to come together and work. And on this note, I'm saying that the child panel must be resourced so that everybody can have access to child protection.
Thank you.
My regards to everybody, all human rights people.
Okay, thank your last words.
Well, so what I would say,
30 seconds.
What I would say is that children's welfare is paramount to everybody.
Yeah.
But when it comes to how we go about it, we go about it in different ways. And we should find a way of bringing all these different ways together so that it will inure to the benefit of the child. that we will not come back and revisit this issue every now and then. That is what basically that is what I want to say.
I know you would want to say a shout out to Madam Mercy and other.
Oh,
my main boss.
Yeah,
Joseph. Yes.
Yeah, so my greetings to Dr. Joseph Weta, the Commissioner of Charge, our Deputy Commissioners, Madam Mercy Labi and Dr. Bafuboni, and then to my Regional Director, Mr. John Akun.
Thank you so much for your submissions. As we've discussed, children are not just the future, but they are the present. If we fail to show them or give them and protect their rights and also instill their responsibilities in them, we risk raising children who will become irresponsible. We risk having irresponsible leaders in the future. And as much as we are doing our best as modern parents, working class who are so occupied, we call on parents to try as much as possible to spend time with their children, guide them, and do not leave them to online or AI teaching them what to do. It's rather unfortunate we don't have enough time. I would have shared a story of an AI that actually led somebody on until the child actually committed suicide. Yeah. AI boyfriend. I'm sure you know of that incident. But the long and short of everything is that we have to do well to protect these children from our present and our future. And for you, the children that are watching me today, know that every right comes with responsibilities. Your responsibilities are to ensure that you commit to your education. You commit and respect your elders. You commit and do more for the society. You are not supposed to bully your friends. It is not right. You don't bully friends. You don't discriminate whether they are poor or they are rich. Treat all people the same. And most importantly, as children, you need to know that you are criminally liable at the age of 12. And so you don't have to engage in activities or things that would result in you having to face the law. There are so many responsibilities that you children need to take up. I understand that the Gen Zs and the Alpha generation are taking over. We know, we appreciate you, and we like what you are bringing on board. But there is more to life than social media or to technology. Thank you so much for joining me today. Now, with Aflag, our sponsor, Aflag has a beautiful gift for you. Over here, we have a beautiful mug created just for you. You put in your office or your bedroom for your morning coffee and tea. Thank you, Ebo, for coming. And also, Madam Gloria, we have this for you. Thank you so much for coming. We hope that with this gift, when we call on you to come again, you would be here to support us. And we are going to use this avenue to call for sponsors. We need sponsors to bring you this show at every point in time. So do well to come in and be a sponsor. It is right in focus. We need that. Until next time, do enjoy your evening and have a great weekend. Bye.
This show is brought to you by Aflag, Praise TV, and Oriental Resort Hotel.